My name is Jim Thomas, and welcome to the Fitness Management Update. Our topic today is the keys to gym ownership success. And let's start with number one on our list, and this is to clarify. And what you need to clarify here is who you are and what do you want. And I'm going to use an example of that new club owner, and then also I'm going to use that example of that owner that's been around for a while. And that new club owner, make sure you really clarify who you are and what you want, and make sure it's realistic. I can't tell you how many owners that we talk to that are looking to get into this because they see it as, well, I can go lease up some space, I can put some equipment in, and we're going to have success. And they don't recognize, the commitment at so many levels that's going to take to get this done. Just being a, say, technician, a good personal trainer, a good instructor, knowledgeable about fitness, a degree in whatever, that's not going to guarantee this. There's a lot of things you're going to need to know. And it's going to require you being there and following up and wearing a lot of different hats. Now, fast forward this, the other thing that we run up against and what we see is a lot of gym owners have been doing this for a while. They've had some success, and they run into this phenomenon we refer to as success apathy. And what that means is just because you've had success in the past doesn't mean you're going to have success today. And it's not our words, it's our actions. We have to get in there and we have to be engaged. And I see too many owners that they don't really know who they are anymore. They think they're that same person they used to be, but they quit doing the things that have made them successful. So really sit down and really identify who you are, really identify, what you want out of this and how you're going to go about doing it. Next is you want to learn to simplify this. I think, using that new club operator as an example, one of the things that we see when new owners come into the business, they have, high hopes and great expectations, and sometimes they can become blinded by optimism if we're not careful. I'll make the operation so that nobody could ever run it. And we want to, really simplify this. And it's one of the things that we look to do when we go in and do an operational analysis or doing a business turnaround. We work to simplify it. So if you're a new club owner just getting started, keep this simple. We call it KISS. Many of you have probably heard that acronym before. We changed it to keep it simple, superstar. Okay. Now, the other thing is, if you're an existing operator, okay, you want to keep this thing simple. It's easy, you go to a trade show, you start adding this, you're doing this, and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with all these things you're trying to do. So in terms of simplifying, learn how to delegate, learn how to outsource, and learn how to eliminate, what's not necessary. Keep this operation simple, and by doing that, it's even going to be easier to hire people, to train people, and really to run a more efficient operation. Number three, maximize. And what we mean here is you want to focus on developing your strengths. What is it you're really good at? Well, you're really good at marketing. You're really good at sales. You're really good at, providing that concierge mentality to member service, and which really affects retention. But focus on developing your strengths, and then maybe you outsource to areas that you're not as good at. Okay, if you're a home run hitter, we don't want you, trying to hit singles. We want you hitting home runs. And if you're a singles hitter, great. Let's get more people on base. That kind of a mindset. And then lastly, for the keys to gym ownership success is you want to multiply. And what we mean here is you want to use other people's resources so you can, really exponentially, grow your business. And I think most folks, when we talk about other people's resources, many operators will do this, when you first got started in terms of, gaining investors or, getting financing and things like that, but then they'll stop. But there's plenty of other resources. Let's look at it from a marketing perspective. Let's use the old standby, the pizza box. These pizza delivery companies, they're delivering thousands of pizzas a day. What if you had a coupon on top of that box? So you're utilizing their resources of people, their resources of marketing to get the word out about your club on a daily basis. We've had clubs that have had, local bloggers blog about their club, and to get them more traffic, utilizing the resources, utilizing the database of those companies. We've had high-end hair salons, talk about clubs and put information out about, nearby facilities that's helped to drive business. So, utilize other people's resources. There's an awful lot of it out there. And the best way to do that is make sure you're giving first. Make sure you have that servant mentality first. You're helping to do the same thing for them. So there's many ways you can do this. Even what comes to mind is, the lead box program. I mean, you have these stores that are getting traffic flow, they're getting people in. You have a lead box program that work properly. There's a right way to do that. Value first. You have to provide value as well. This is not a one-way street. It's going both ways. So keys to gym ownership success, whether you're just getting started, whether you've been in it for a while and maybe you're starting to struggle, clarify, simplify, maximize, and multiply. My name is Jim Thomas, and this has been the Fitness Management Update.